The Edmonton Oilers have made a splash this offseason. This team already had an extremely good top six, but with the acquisitions of Jeff Skinner and Viktor Arvidsson, they most certainly have the best top six in the entire NHL. Or do they? In this video, I'm going to be ranking the Oilers' top six compared to the league's best top six cores and see how well they match up. So, if you're not already subscribed, we're 10 away from 5,000 subs. 5,000 subs! Can you help a brother out? Would really mean the world. And with that out of the way, let's hop right back into this video. And also, don't leave a like. I don't want it. Not a single like. 0 likes, baby. Let's go. And question of the video, is this Oilers top six the best top six the NHL has seen in the salary cap era? Drop a comment down below. I have a team that I think is right up there with them, but yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. I read every single comment in the comment section below, so drop a comment down below. Okay, and I'm just going off of how many teams do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got the 8 best top sixes, I believe, in the NHL. And to start off, we're gonna go with we're comparing the Oilers top six with the Florida Panthers. Okay, so as you guys can see, you got the Florida Panthers here. Carter Verhaeghe, who's an absolute stud. Sasha Barkov, most underrated player apparently in the NHL for the last 10 years now. That's such a joke. He's not the most underrated. Everyone knows how good he is now. Sam Reinhart, he finishes off this line. That's just an unbelievable first line. Obviously, that line was huge for the Panthers in the playoffs. Second line, you've got Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, and Evan Rodriguez. Okay, I like this first line a lot. Let's see how it stacks up against the Oilers' first line. Right now, they have Nugent-Hopkins, Connor McDavid, and Zach Hyman. Oh man, this one's close, but you'll see something, and it's a common trend when you're putting it's hard to compete with Connor McDavid. I feel like whatever line he's going to be on, it's probably going to be one of the best lines in hockey. And then you have Zach Hyman, a 50-goal scorer, and then a 100-point player in Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Look, am I biased here? I'm going to try very hard not to be, and I don't think I am. I'm taking the Oilers top line here, and I know it sounds funny because people are like, oh, well, look, the Florida Panthers, they won the Cup this last year, but it's like, look what McDavid was able to do in the playoffs this year, and the top six is it's great for your team, but obviously, the Florida Panthers, they had better goaltending. Obviously, they had better defense, and they played better as a team. That doesn't mean that the Oilers can't have a better top six. So, drop a comment if there's any Panthers fans calling me a homer. Totally, drop a comment down below. I'm okay with that. It creates conversation. I'm taking the Oilers top line over Florida Panthers. And then, yeah, I guess that's what we're going to be doing here. Process of elimination. Second line, you've got Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, and Evan Rodriguez. Okay, this is an awesome, really good second line as well, but going up against Jeff Skinner, who I think is going to have a career year, and a lot of people are going to say, yeah, well, he has done nothing ever in the playoffs. Well, you know why? He's never been in the playoffs, and that's not really his fault. He was drafted by the Carolina Hurricanes, who were just a terrible team for so long, and right when they start getting good, he gets traded to the team that's had the longest drought in NHL history and not making the playoffs, the Buffalo Sabres. When he's playing with really good players, Jeff Skinner, he shows up, and he's going to be playing with either Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, so he's going to have a career year. And then we just talked about him, Viktor Arvidsson, one of the newest Oilers. I think he's also going to have a career year. So this is tricky because you don't really know what this line can produce and what it's going to produce. So I guess for that reason, maybe you take the Florida Panthers second line. But regardless, you can mix and match these lines, and they're not cemented, right? You could also do Connor McDavid on the first line with Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman, and then have Nuge, Jeff Skinner, and Viktor Arvidsson. So I still do think that the Oilers have more options. I think they have the better talent, and even though I will say this, just because we haven't seen, I'll give the Florida Panthers the better second line. I don't think they're a better top six. So that's Florida. Let's go to the next. What do I have here? I've got the Detroit Red Wings, who actually have a sneaky Detroit Red Wings have a sneaky good top six as I was looking at it. You've got Alex DeBrincat, who's a stud, Lucas Raymond coming off a 70-point season, and Dylan Larkin, who's a really good player, and he's really shown that he can be a good player. Not just like a complete player, but he's put up some decent points in the last few years. You got Vladimir Tarasenko, who would have been in the top six for the Florida Panthers, but obviously he signed with the Red Wings over the summer. JT Compher, who and this guy's such a stud. always thought he was overshadowed when he was with the Colorado Avalanche, and I'm happy because he was a third line, fourth line guy there. But you know, he's a second line guy on this team, and I think it showed. He's got little glimpses of brilliance. You see it in his game. Really good shot, smart player. He's going to be on a line with Patrick Kane and Vladimir Tarasenko. So, I mean, this is another really good top six. And is it good enough to knock the Oilers top? I don't think so. I really don't think so. If there's any Red Wings fans out there, look, this top six has yet to really perform in the playoffs. They have done nothing crazy. How many 100-point players you got? Patrick Kane, who was a 100-point player, but could he reach that? Potentially. He could potentially reach that this year. Maybe high 90s. Dylan Larkin, he's a high 80s player, I think was his best year. DeBrincat, he can produce. I think he'll have a really good year as well, but I mean, it's a step in the right direction. I don't think this top six is good enough to knock the Oilers top six. Okay, and next up, I've got the Colorado Avalanche. Speaking of the Colorado Avalanche, okay, this is a top six that has kind of diminished recently. Obviously, they don't have Gabriel Landeskog in the lineup or Valeri Nichushkin, so that's gonna change a lot with this lineup. Casey Middlestat, he's okay. He looked okay in his time there last year, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know too much about the second line right winger, this Nikolai Kovalenko. Yeah, I probably butchered that. So, Jonathan Drouin, it looks like he had a resurgence with Nathan MacKinnon. Obviously, they crushed it in junior. Mikko Rantanen, consistent 100-point player. So that first line's sick. It really is sick. And once, hopefully, Gabe Landeskog gets back in the thick of it, he'll be slotted either on the top. Their left side's really good. I'll give them that. Jonathan Drouin, Terry Lehkonen, one of those guys is going down. But even you got Miles Wood on your third line for a lefty, like that's pretty sick. He'll be interesting, and obviously as well, this Nikolai guy, he's going to get out when whatever Valeri Nichushkin gets his figured out, because yeah, that's not good. So I will say, I'd give, even when they are healthy. Oh, this is tough, though. This one's really, really tough. I will say, to the question of the video, is this the best? Do the Oilers have the best top six in the salary cap era? The only team I can think of that had a better or just as good top six was when the Colorado Avalanche won the Cup. They had Nazem Kadri. They had career years all around until, I guess, this year for Nathan MacKinnon. But they looked so good. So I'd say that was the only one that could compete with the Oilers' top six right now. And am I a homer? I still think the Oilers have a better top six than the Colorado Avalanche. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Drop a comment down below. Okay, next up, we've got the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not going to talk too much here because I don't think the Toronto Maple Leafs have a better top six than the Oilers. It's like they've got two studs on each line, obviously with Matthews and Marner, and then you got JT and Nylander. But then you got Bobby McMahon and Matthew Knies. Knies is, trending upwards for sure, but I mean, do you compare him to the Oilers? Nugent-Hopkins, I'm still taking Nuge over him. I'm still taking Jeff Skinner over him. And the exact same for Bobby McMahon, who he looked good. I'm not going to lie, he did look good, but I don't know. I still, you just look what Mitch Marner did in the playoffs, nothing really. Austin Matthews, what he did in the playoffs, nothing really. I take the Oilers top six over this, and hot take, I don't even think it's that close. Okay, next up, I've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay, this is interesting because obviously they lost their captain, so that's kind of interesting. But Jake Gensel, he slots in the top left with Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, probably the best line in all of hockey. But then their second line, I think, takes a dip. Anthony Cirelli, who's pretty solid. He's a good player. He is a good player. Brandon Hagel, he had a career year last year. And Cam Atkinson struggled. He struggled mightily last year. So I think their first line may be better than the Oilers' first line. Probably is. But second line, I don't think it's not even close. Like Cam Atkinson, he's trending downwards. So I'm still taking the Oilers top six. I guess this video, I really just wanted to say the Oilers do have the best top six. I just need to get a video out there, but I don't think it's necessarily close. That's kind of what we're getting at with 3 teams remaining, okay? And these are the best top sixes I picked just from the eye test. I didn't go into the analytics, but up next we got the New York Rangers, who I think probably have the second best top six in the National Hockey League right now. You got Chris Kreider, who's a 50-goal scorer. Mika Zibanejad, who's an absolute stud. I think he should be in there for most underrated players. Riley Smith, who's looking for a bounce-back season. Didn't quite work out with the Penguins. So, solid first line. You got three really good players. That's a really, really good line. And you know it's good when Artemi Panarin, their best players on their second line. I don't really know how that works out, but he's probably going to be slotted on the first line, I imagine, when the season starts. But yeah, the Breadman on the second line, absolute stud, had a career year last year. Vinny Trocheck, who I've always had a soft spot for, good right shot center. He's found his place in New York. It took a little while, but he looked really good in this playoffs. And then you got Alexis Lafreniere, who obviously was drafted first overall in 2020, hasn't quite come around to his game, but last year was his best year as well, and he showed up in the playoffs, or he had a few really good goals in the playoffs. So I like this top six a lot. I don't think it's better than the Oilers. I really don't. Am I crazy? But this one's close, and if Alexis Lafreniere becomes that first overall player that he was supposed to be, which all signs are showing last year, especially, that he's finally maybe, getting that confidence. I feel like it's a lot, because you look at Capo Caco as well, and there's that other player that he was a pretty high prospect that they drafted. I feel like it's a lot of pressure. It is one of the most historic franchises in the NHL. It's the most expensive franchise, according to Forbes. So I don't know if that's why the high-end prospects that they draft don't really pan out, but who knows? He should be good. I like Alexis Lafreniere a lot. I think he's going to be a stud, and if he is like a 100-point player, and I don't think, will he be a 100-point player next season? I don't even know if he ever reaches 100 points, but if he's like an 80-point player, this is right up there with the Oilers' top six. I think this is probably. What do you guys think? Do the Rangers have the second best top six in the NHL? Drop a comment down below. Okay, but I still think the Oilers have a better top six. We've got two teams remaining that are comparing or trying to compete with the Oilers' top six, and we're gonna head right over the river. Is it a river or lake or something like that? The New Jersey Devils. Okay, this is interesting. You got Andre Palat, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt on the first line, which is a really, really good first line. I like that. I don't think that ends up being their first line when the season starts. You got to have Jack Hughes as your number one center. But yeah, in your second line, Timo Meier, who had an off year last year. Near the end of the season, he started picking her up. Jack Hughes and Dawson Mercer, who's an up-and-coming stud. Lots of talent. I give this roster, this top six, maybe like 2 years for Dawson Mercer, Jesper Bratt, and Jack Hughes to really find their place. And same with Timo Meier. He's a fresh face with the organization. Had a little bit of an off year last year, but I expect him to be a lot better this year. So this is a really good top six. I still don't think it's better than the Oilers, though. Okay. Last up, the last team that I think kind of competes with the Oilers, or it's one of the best top six in the NHL. I think that's a better way to put it. You've got the Dallas Stars, the team the Oilers eliminated in the Western Conference Final. Okay, Jason Robertson, he had a step-back year last year. He had 100. He had a franchise season, the best offensive season for a Dallas Star ever, which is crazy to think. But he dropped quite a bit last year. You got Rupe Hintz, who I think is just such a great player. He's so good. Tyler Seguin, it's really too bad that him and Ben just dropped off. That was like my favorite duo. I'm just looking at my Seguin jersey right now. They were automatic. It was so fun to watch them from like 2014 to 2016, a little bit of 2017, and then they really kind of just stopped. So it's too bad because I don't know if Tyler Seguin will ever be the player that he once was. But if he was that player, that point per game player, and Jamie Benn, this probably would be the best top six, I'd like to think. Our second line, you've got Wyatt Johnson in between Jamie Benn and Logan Stankoven. This is interesting. Wouldn't be surprised if Matt Duchene gets some looks on that second line. But Logan Stankoven, he came in and he was a gangbuster right from the start. So talk about its exact opposite with the Rangers, and with the Stars have been able to just develop prospects very well for, I guess, quite some time now. Rupe Hintz, they didn't rush him, and look at him now. Jason Robertson was like a 50th overall pick, something like that. Same with Logan Stankoven. They've done really good. Wyatt Johnson, 23rd overall in 2021, I think. So they've done a tremendous job with their drafting, and this top 6 is absolutely sick. You can win with this top 6, but I don't think it's better than the Oilers. Okay, there we have it. Turns out there's no top 6 better than the Oilers. According to me, what do you think? Drop a comment down below. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting. I think the Oilers were like up there. I don't think it was unanimous that they had the best top 6 last year, but they were obviously in the conversation. And that's kind of the thing. Anytime you got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in your top 6, you're going to be up there. But the fact that the Oilers were able to bring in, like, out goes Ryan McLeod and Warren Foegele, in goes 80-point player in Jeff Skinner and a 60-point player in Viktor Arvidsson. Look, Hyman was a 40-point player before he joined the Oilers, and now he just potted 50, right? Who's to say Viktor Arvidsson can't at least score 30 consistently, maybe close to 40? And Jeff Skinner, like I said, he really relies on who he plays with. If he's playing with Connor McDavid, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets an high 80s points like season, like maybe closing in on 90. Is that crazy to think? I don't think so. And obviously, I feel like some Canucks fans are going to be like, you didn't mention the Canucks. Yeah, I feel like they lost a lot. I don't really think, who's buddy that they brought in? Freaking the young kid. Jake DeBrusk. Jake DeBrusk, it'll be interesting to see how well he does, but I don't know. I don't think that you lose Lindholm. You lost, I forget who else they lost, but I think they took a step back this year. Who else? St. Louis Blues? No. San Jose Sharks? No, obviously not. Yeah, but that's all I got for this video, guys. Like I said, 10 subs away from 5,000. Can you help a brother out? That would be awesome. Thanks if you made it this far. I really appreciate all the support. You guys are absolute beauties. Thank you for everything. As always, guys, don't be average when you can be above average. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.